So I bought this Meade 12-inch GPS controlled telescope back about 2001. But it had one problem. My property has so many trees on it, it was hard to get a good view of the night sky. So if I really wanted to use it, I had to pack this whole thing up and take it out to the desert where there were no trees. So I figured, well, I had to come up with a better plan. And so this was my plan to build an observatory on top of my dome. And as you can see, it was quite a ways up here. So I first had to construct this really super heavy duty staircase or ladder. I think it weighed like around 800 pounds because it was 24 feet long and very heavy gauge steel. And yeah, it was a lot of work. I built it down on the ground, and then we had to lift it up into place, and then built this little gangplank over to where I built my little structure. And there's the mount for the telescope. Now, eventually, there were windows here, and the whole place had cushioned seats and upholstery inside, and really looked nice. I called it my Sky Lounge. And as you might have seen earlier, a lot of people were having problems going up the staircase because it was so steep and a little bit scary. So I did go ahead and add that little elevator, the electric lift that would take people right to the top. And then this was the dome I bought. It was a 7-foot fiberglass clamshell observatory dome. It wasn't cheap. It was about 18 grand. Today they're around like 23. Anyway, there you can see it. Now what happened, I originally just bolted that dome to the top so it couldn't you couldn't turn it. So sometimes if you wanted the right view of the sky, you had to lower both sides down. And so I eventually decided, I want to make it so I can rotate the dome 360 degrees. That way, if it was a little bit windy some night, I could rotate so the open half was looking right at the star, and I could keep the other half up to shield it from the wind. So I had to get the crane out a second time to lift the dome off the top of the structure. And then I had prepared the first ring was made out of angle iron rolled into a ring. It was like the chase. And that was bolted to the top of the structure. You can see it down there. And then I made another ring that would bolt to the bottom of the dome. And that ring had 8 like rollerblade wheels. Real nice, smooth, rolling, bearing wheels. So now I'm bringing the dome down. And once it gets down, I'll bolt the ring with the wheels to it. And while I'm doing that, the guy will lift the ring back up to go on top of the dome. Now, the funny thing is, when I eventually sold my property, I kept the dome and sold it around 2015. And look, here it is now up at Pine Mountain Observatory. It's kind of cool to have it up there. But anyway, here we are now. This is the ring that mounts to the top of the structure that has the provision for the wheels on the bottom of the dome ring to rotate in and around. So here now you can see we're going to bring the dome back up to the top. The metal ring with the wheels on it is bolted to the bottom, and we're going to lift it up and put it in place. And finally now it's getting ready. All we have to do is drop it. There's no bolting. It just sits on top. There you can see the little wheels on the bottom. And you can see there's a metal skirt. Well, actually, that ring is like a skirt that keeps the water from getting inside. I just loved, when I was on that property, I loved building stuff. My tower, my rocket garden, all my centrifuge, all that stuff was, I just really, really loved building all this stuff. Yeah. So once it was set, it was done. And then I began having these little star parties, which was real fun. Now, this night was when the Mars was the closest to Earth that it had been in like 40 years or something like that. So, yeah, there's Tiffany. She was such a doll. Yeah, I liked having attractive young women come up to my star parties. I mean, why wouldn't I? Huh? There was one thing about the dome which was driving me crazy. The hardwood surface inside turned it into an echo chamber. And the only way I could get rid of the echo was to carpet the entire interior. Man, that was one hell of a job. And of course, this is me on top of Mount Hood in 1980, July 20th, Oregon's highest mountain.